Tonight's class focuses on working with fathers. Some might question why we need a separate class just for fathers. After all, we don't have a class specifically devoted to mothers. As you know, throughout history, mothers have been the primary caregivers to their children. And historically, fathers' role in the family has been that of the breadwinner. Traditionally, fathers have not been involved in their children's upbringing or education other than financially. That has changed, and so we must adapt to be sure that we are including fathers in our communication and supporting them in their efforts in their parenting. Tonight we'll look at the changing role of fathers, how fathers' parenting responsibilities have evolved over the years. We'll also look at some of the research which looks at the importance of fathers in their children's lives. And lastly, we'll discuss tips or suggestions for working with fathers in our programs and in our schools. From Puritan times until the age of industrialization, fathers' primary role in the family was that of the breadwinner, the financial provider of the family. Fathers were also considered the authority on moral and religious teachings for children in their family. In the 20th century, with the advent of industrialization and urbanization, and as factories emerged as the major source of employment, fathers became distanced from the household and their families. All aspects of children's upbringing, including their religious and secular education, was left to the mother. An exception to this rule was when mothers deferred to fathers for disciplining of the children's more serious infractions. It was not uncommon for mothers to warn, "Wait until your father gets home." However, fathers were not considered vital to their children's development until the 1940s, at the end of World War II. Child development research until that time focused on how sensitive mothers were to meeting their children's needs. It wasn't until the 1970s when research began to look at the impact of the nurturing father on children's development. The changing economic role of women in the 20th century had a tremendous effect on the role of fathers. Between 1948 and 2001, the percentage of women employed nearly doubled, from less than 33% to more than 60%. Women's increase in financial power made fathers' financial support less necessary for some families. Along with women's growing autonomy came related trends such as decline in fertility, increasing rates of divorce and remarriage, and birth outside of marriage. These factors have resulted in many changes for fathers over the years, from clearly defined roles in the family to an undefined or unexistent one. Today's fathers are vastly different from their fathers and those of previous generations. Research in the last 40 years has explored these changing roles and their effects on children's development. Now we're going to look at some of the research which highlights the importance of fatherhood. A study conducted by the National Institute of Child Health and Human Development in 2000 found that fathers tended to be more involved in caregiving when they worked fewer hours than other fathers. They had positive psychological adjustment characteristics, such as high self-esteem, lower levels of depression and hostility, and they coped well with major tasks of adulthood. Fathers also engaged in more caregiving when mothers worked more hours outside of the home, when mothers reported greater marital intimacy, and when the children were boys. Another research study found that high levels of father involvement indicate positive outcomes in cognitive and socio-emotional development. According to the National Center on Fathers and Families, the presence of a father indicates that a child will have the opportunity to have a healthy upbringing. The National Center on Fathers and Families also created the Fathering Indicator Framework to guide research on fathering. They identified 6 positive fathering indicator categories: father's presence, caregiving, children's social competence, cooperative parenting, father's healthy living, and father's material and financial contribution. These categories are used to pinpoint how father's participation creates positive change in children and family. Overall, the research shows that in any family, regardless of the structure, children benefit from a positive involvement with their fathers. Despite the plethora of research citing fathers' vital contribution to children's healthy development, 33% of children in the United States live without a biological father. When broken down by ethnicity, we see that 63% of African American children live without their biological father, 35% of Hispanic children, and 28% of white children are living in homes absent of their biological father. Research suggests that children in father-absent homes are 5 times more likely to be poor. In 2002, 7.8% of children whose parents were married lived in poverty, as compared to 38.4% of children who lived with their mothers only. There are a number of other risk factors for children living without a father. These include increased likelihood of using cigarettes, drugs, and alcohol as teenagers, having lower grade point average, poor attendance in school, higher dropout rates, and lower aspirations for college. The importance of fathers and the crisis of absentee fathers was addressed by President Obama in 2010. He created a fatherhood and mentoring initiative to provide leadership and funding for this critical topic.
So I think it's time for a new conversation around fatherhood in this country. We can all agree we've got too many mothers out there forced to do everything all by themselves. They're doing a heroic job, often under trying circumstances. They deserve a lot of credit for that, but they shouldn't have to do it alone. The work of raising our children is the most important job in this country, and it's all of our responsibilities, mothers and fathers. Now, I can't legislate fatherhood. I can't force anybody to love a child. But what we can do is send a clear message to our fathers that there's no excuse for failing to meet their obligations. What we can do is make it easier for fathers who make responsible choices and harder for those who avoid those choices. What we can do is come together and support fathers who are willing to step up and be good partners and parents and providers. And that's why today we're launching the next phase of our work to promote responsible fatherhood, a new nationwide fatherhood and mentoring initiative. This is a call to action with cities and states, with individuals and organizations across the country, from the NFL Players Association to the National PTA to everyday moms and dads. We're raising awareness about responsible fatherhood and working to re-engage absent fathers with their families. As part of this effort, we've proposed a new and expanded Fatherhood, Marriage, and Families Innovation Fund. We plan to seek out and support the very best, most successful initiatives in our states and communities, those that are offering services like job training or parenting skills classes, domestic violence prevention, all which help provide the kind of network of support for men, particularly those in vulnerable communities. We're also going to help dads who get caught up. We want to make sure that they're caught up on child support payments and that we re-engage them in their children's lives. We're going to support efforts to build healthy relationships between parents as well, because we know the children benefit not just from loving mothers and loving fathers, but from strong and loving marriages as well.
In spite of the critical problem of absentee fathers and its deleterious effect on children, we have more and more fathers taking a central role in their children's upbringing. In the last decade, the number of men who have left the workforce entirely to raise their children has more than doubled to 176,000, according to recent U.S. Census data. Additionally, men who maintain freelance or part-time work but serve as the primary caregiver of their children who are under 15 while their wives work is numbered around 626,000. In 2011, only 16% of American households included a father who was the sole breadwinner with a stay-at-home mother. Now we're going to take a look at some strategies that we can use while working with fathers and supporting them. Remember that the word father may include father figures, such as grandfathers, uncles, stepfathers, or family friends. When fathers drop off or pick up their children at school, make an effort to talk with them, not just the mother. Encourage fathers to participate in the classroom. Send newsletters to fathers and other male relatives. Send a newsletter to non-custodial fathers unless the courts object to contact with the non-custodial parent. Include pictures and an article about a father participating in the classroom. Schedule conferences at times that are convenient for both parents. Encourage the father to come and participate. Have a special conference with the non-custodial parent if the courts permit and if it appears to be counterproductive for both the custodial and non-custodial parents to be present at the same time. Make telephone calls or send texts letting both parents know about something the child has done that was interesting and positive. Ask a father who participates to recruit another or pair up two fathers, one new and one veteran, so that the more seasoned father can model for the father who is unfamiliar with the classroom. Make home visits at a time when both parents will be there. Videotape children in the classrooms to share with parents. Include fathers working in the classrooms in the video so that fathers see they are welcome to participate. Include activities that appeal to fathers. Let them help with all types of classroom involvement, but also have activities such as games, exercise, or physical activities that fathers would feel comfortable overseeing. Present a workshop that allows both parents to participate in the class so they become familiar with the expectations and activities. Encourage them to attend workshops on helping in the classroom, parenting skills, and conflict resolution. Plan field trips, such as visits to a zoo, farm, or museum. Ask both parents to accompany and participate. Plan a family evening where both parents come and read with their children. Learn from and listen to fathers. Appreciate their contributions. As you listen to the following fathers discuss their experiences with parenthood, consider these guiding questions. How did your father impact your life? What are the unique challenges modern fathers face? How can teachers support fathers in their struggles and in their triumphs?
Don't get my finger.
Good job.
I want to do another one.
So being a role model is important because it helps them with their adult years and just being a role model for their children to where they can say, I want to be just like my dad was when I was a kid.
And a face.
Yeah, a smiley face. Oh, are you happy?
I use the experience, being a father, I use the experience that I had with my father, that I looked up to him a lot, and that he gave me broken promises a lot when I was young.
I think I'm being a good role model for my daughter, and it's a very big deal because they do look up to you. The slightest things that you do or say,
I need help.
they're going to pick up on the things you don't want them to pick up on. I think it's good for the father to have a good relationship with the mother. The child sees that. They can even sense that.
Have very good communication and not fight in front of them, not yell at each other.
And if all they're seeing is negativity and and people bad-mouthing each other or what have you, it's not good for the child.
QRSTUVWXYZ. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me?
Wonderful, I love it. I wouldn't trade it in for any other job in the world.
All of it, the whole thing, the good, the bad, it's all joyful.